What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Vodinh Poker Vlogs. I just want to take this time to thank everyone that's been supporting and watching the channel. I've had a lot of people in Houston at 52 say they recognize me. I think that's such an awesome thing. Thank you for all the support. Even if I am making bad mistakes or donkey off money or making bad plays, I thank everyone for the criticism. Continue giving that criticism in the comments. It really helps me grow as a player. Whether it's right or wrong, I still read it. I take it into consideration. Everyone has different views, whether it's GTO or, different views that you can see from live play. I read all of them. I take it into consideration. I study the game. I reevaluate. So I thank you, everyone, whether it's harsh or kind words, comments, criticism. Thank you to everyone, and let's get into this vlog. To get things started, this is our second hand of the session. We have ace deuce offsuit in the small blind. The cutoff and myself limp. Big blind checks it. We go three ways to flop, which comes pretty favorable. Comes ace king deuce, two diamonds and a heart. We're going to lead out on this board with our two pair, charging any other ace x or king x hand. We bet $5 into the $9 pot. Big blind folds and cutoff calls. Turn brings the nine of spades. Not too much different about the hand. If he has an ace x, he's always going to be calling us down. We bet $15 into $19 pot. Sadly enough, cutoff folds, and we take down the first pot of the session. We'll take that win. In this next hand, we have ace four of hearts on the button. The hijack opens for $12. We have a call here with the suited ace in position. Small blind, big blind fold, so we go heads up to a flop. It comes king 9-7, two hearts and a spade. Pretty decent flop for us. When the hijack bet $16 into $28 pot, we have an easy call here with the nut flush draw. Turn brings the king of diamonds. If he has a king, then he should be betting here or going for value. Same thing with his 9-7s, and we all want to keep his bluffs in, so when he checks to us, we decide to just check it back. Maybe we bet here, but if he has a king, he's not folding, and we might just be putting ourselves into a pretty bad position to the river, so we just check it back to him. River comes an interesting card. It's the king of spades, so now there's three kings on the board and 9-7. He leads out for $25. I decide to bluff catch here with the ace high because he shouldn't have too many 9s or 7s in his range. If anything, he should have the pocket pairs that open on the hijack, but even worse, he shows us a king, and not just any king, the king 9 of clubs. So he flopped top two, turned the boat, and then rivered quad, so it just got better and better for him. Our bluff catch does not work, and we lose that pot there. In this next hand, we have jack 9 of diamonds on the small blind. The under the gun +1 opens for $15. The hijack, myself, and the big blind call. We go four ways to flop, which comes king, queen, 5, two diamonds in the club. So he flopped the diamond draw with the gutter to the 10. Myself and the big blind check it to the initial aggressor. The +1 leads for $25. Hijack folds. I have a call here with the gutter ball and the diamond draw, and the big blind folds. So we go heads up to a turn, which comes the 7 of clubs. Pot's now $110. When I check to him looking to check call, he bet $65 with me having about 250 to 300 behind and him covering us. I think we can look to call here to get stacks in on the river. So I do make the call for 65 into 110. The river brings us the ace of diamonds. So now we have the nut flush. We didn't call off $65 to the $110 pot on the turn for nothing. We wanted to jam in this spot, getting our stacks in. So we decided to jam for $250 effective into the $240 pot. The +1 tanks for a really long time. Our jam is basically to polarize our range, including all our bluffs and of course all our nut hands with the jack of diamonds here, as well as any jack 10 hand that we could have possibly had. We want to target hands like kings, queens, king, queen, and maybe sets of 4s. So when we make this jam, he tanks for a long time. He ends up folding queens face up, so hats off to him for making that fold. But everything does in fact get there, jack 10 and the diamond draw, so it should be a pretty easy fold, but obviously it's never easy to let go a set of queens. This next hand we have queen jack offsuit under the gun. I open for $15. Only the low jack calls us, so we go heads up to a flop, which comes queen 8-6, two clubs and a heart. We continue with our c-bet for $15, and the low jack calls us. Turn brings the 3 of clubs, so we still have the flush draw to the jack as well as our top pair. So we continue for $35, and the low jack once again calls us. The river brings an ace of spades, so kind of a scare card, but if he floated with an ace, he deserves to win this pot. So we're going to look to check call in this spot. When we check it to him, he decides to check it back, and our queen jack offsuit is good. Before getting into the next hand, I would love to hear everyone's comments on how I would play it as played and played differently. So you can go ahead and leave your comments, but we're in the low jack with queen jack offsuit. The under the gun +1 opens for $20. We call here with a pretty strong holding. The small blind, big blind also call, so you go 4 ways to a flop, which comes 10, 8, 5, all diamonds. So we at least flop a gutter ball to the 9. It checks to us, and in last position, when it checks to us and the initial raiser not leading out and it's continuing, we decide to take advantage of the situation and bet 50 into 80 with some type of equity. The small blind, big blind do in fact fold, but the +1 tanks for a while before making his call. The turn brings the jack of spades, so now we have at least top pair with our gutter ball. No diamonds, however. When the +1 checks to us, I decide to continue betting with more equity with that jack. So I size a bet of $60. In hindsight, what I think is I should size up here to 120 or 140 to get our worst hands, not containing a diamond. But as played, we do size to $60, and the under the gun +1 tank calls us again. The river brings 6 of diamonds, which isn't too good of a card here. When the +1 checks to us, I'm really unsure what to do, with him having only 130 behind into a $300 pot. So I want to hear everyone's thoughts here. Should we be jamming? Does he have more diamonds in his range when he's check calling us on the flop and turn? Why isn't he leading out on the flop when he's the initial aggressor, under the gun +1? If anyone can answer all these questions and then explain what you would do differently and how you would play it as played. As played, we decided to just check back here, thinking that he has more diamonds in his range check calling than we do, and probably a stronger hand. So we decide to check, and he shows us pocket kings with the king of hearts and spades. So he did not have a diamond, but his pocket kings are good in his hand, and he takes down this sizable pot. Last hand we're going to cover, we have the ace-9 of clubs in the under the gun +1. We open for $15. The low jack, hijack, and button all call us, and the small blind, big blind fold. We go 4 ways to a flop, which comes 10, 7, 5, 2 diamonds, and a club. So we have backdoor straight and club outs. In first position, 4-handed, we have no reason to lead out here. If anyone has a better hand than we do, of course, which is ace high, they're obviously going to be calling, and we don't want to lose any equity that we can catch on the turn, and we want to try to see a card on the turn as cheaply as possible. So we are going to check on this flop in first position. It luckily enough checks around. The queen of clubs comes on the turn. So now we have flush draw outs to the nuts. We obviously lead out here, first to act, 35 into 64. Low jack folds, hijack, and button call. We go to a river, which comes the ace of spades. I bet $80 into the 169 pot now that we have the top pair, looking to charge any other queen X that might not believe us. The low jack folds and the button calls. We show our ace-9 of clubs, and it's good. The button shows us queen 6 of hearts, so we get value from the exact hand we want. Although marginal, we were still able to squeeze out the call and take down a pretty decent pot. At this point in the vlog, a very actiony player has sat down at the table. He got stacked for his $100 buy-in with 10 deuce against king 3, who rivered the 3 for the 2 pair against his flop 2 pair of 10 deuce. So he's been buying in for 100 and jamming all in blind pre-flop. So he's a very actiony player. We get one hand against him. We have ace jack offsuit. He's on the button straddle. We pop it up to $20 and he calls us. The flop comes deuce 3 4, so we have the gutter ball to the 5, and I think our ace jack pairs, if it hits on the turn or river, are good. We check to him though, because this board favors him for sure more than ourselves, so we check to him and he checks back. Turn brings an 8. He bets $35. I think we have an easy call here to float our ace jack and hopefully hit a 5 maybe, if anything. So we call the $35. On the 9 river, we have nothing to do but check fold, so we do in fact check. He checks it back and he shows us 4-7 of diamond. So he takes down that pot, And unfortunately, even though he's a very actiony player, we have to head out. So we rack up and take our small profit for the day. Like I said, it was a super short session. I had some errands to run, so only put in like an hour and a half of work. So we were in the game for $520. That's $20 tip chips, $500 cash. We were out of the game for $600. It says $632 in the video, but we were actually out for $612. The $20 was someone else that we cashed out and helped cash out for. So in for the game for $520, out of the game for $612. That's a $92 profit for a 1 hour and a half session. We'll always take that. Yeah, see you guys in the next one.